Hello everyone, it's Friday and you're watching Within the Frame. I'm Kim Bo-kyung. Korea's medical tourism is recovering quickly as the country entered an endemic phase. More than 248,000 foreign nationals visited South Korea last year for medical treatment, up around 70% on year. Though there is still a long way to go for the numbers to go back to pre-pandemic levels, it is showing signs of a quick return. What are the main reasons foreigners are choosing Korea for medical tourism, and what governmental support would help the industry thrive? To discuss this, we invite Doctor Yoo Byung-wook, Head of International Clinic at Soonchunhyang University Hospital. Dr. Yoo, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. Good evening.
Good evening. And we also have Mr. Seung-wook, Director of Global Healthcare at the Korea Health Industry Development Institute. Director Hong, thank you for your time.
Good evening. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being with us. Now, Dr. Yoo, first question. Medical tourism to South Korea is seeing a revival now that COVID-19 has entered its endemic phase. Now, before we delve deeper into the details, what exactly is medical tourism and to what level is the market expected to grow?
Well, the medical tourism, people we thought just kind of medical services, but it seems like a manufacturing of a car. It's one of the industry, not only for the pharmaceutical or not only the hospital management, it's kind of a cultural thing. So year 2020, under the pandemic, it was 162 billion amount of the budget. We are expecting around 2031, it can be 441 billion US dollars budget. It can be the size of the medical tourism market will be increased. Recently, they expected every years 10.2% of the market can be extended. So the last 5 years in average was 8.8, but probably the next 10 years it will be more extended.
Right, I see. So huge growth is expected for the medical tourism sector. Now, Dr. Yoo, one more question. I heard that Asian countries are considered as leaders in the medical tourism industry. Why is this?
Well, there are three major reasons. First, major population we live in Asia is among the whole population in the earth. The second, unfortunately, many Asian countries, they don't have the infrastructures enough to take care of their peoples, and also these days, all nations are connected in the web. So first is mainly Asian populations in the more than half of the whole population. Second is under the pandemic, we are more well known about other countries, neighbor countries, especially South Asian countries. They have a more interest in Korea, and they know about Korean cultures and Korean infrastructure of the medical service. And the last one is now the medical industry is one of the distinguished, the industry area is not only mechanics. So we can say ecologically, also it can be extended wide growing expected. That's why many investigations are expected to, especially for these Asian countries.
Right, I see. So those are the reasons why Asian countries are seeing many more foreign patients for this medical treatment. Now, Director Hong, South Korea in particular makes up more than 40% of the East Asian medical tourism market share. And as if proving the revival, more than 248,000 foreign patients visited South Korea last year, like I said before, which was about a 70% increase on year. Now, could you tell us more about these figures and what did they suggest?
The total number of foreign patients who visit Korea last year is 248,000, which is increased by 71% since previous year, recovering to 50% from 2019, about 500,000. As a result, 3.2 Korea since 2009, about 60,000, when foreign patients began to be attracted. Despite external variables, for example, MERS or the international political conflicts, the number of foreign patients steadily increased to about 500,000 in 2019. But due to COVID-19, it has plunged to about 120,000 in 2020 and is gradually recovering to the level before COVID-19. And more than 300,000 foreign patients are expected to visit Korea this year.
Right, I see. Now, Director Hong, delving a little bit deeper here, I heard that there are many changes from the medical tourism trend before COVID-19, with many foreign patients now visiting South Korea clinics through social media advertisements rather than through agencies. Could you tell us more about what the current medical tourism trend is?
Looking at the current status of foreign patients visiting Korea by nationality, the U.S. accounts for the largest portion, followed by China, Japan, Thailand, and Vietnam. Visitors from the U.S. increased more than 53% from 2021, and China also increased 57% year-on-year, despite restrictions on movement due to COVID-19. Russia in general was at the top of the list every year, but the impact of the Russia-Ukraine war has led to a sharp drop in visits in recent years. Especially Singapore and Japan increased more than 6 times year-on-year, respectively, and the increase in visits by patients from Thailand and the Philippines was high, which indicates a high increase in Southeast Asian countries. Compared to the previous year, the number of foreign patients increased in all medical departments. Integrated internal medicine treatment was 65,000, accounting for 22.3% of all medical subjects, followed by plastic surgery, 15.8%, dermatology, 12.3%, and health checkup, 6.6%. It is true that the medical department of foreign patients still visiting Korea are showing high strength in dermatology and plastic surgery. According to the KD foreign patient satisfaction survey, 66% of respondents visit Korean hospitals based on the recommendation of friends or relatives. It is followed by 45% online media, 41% local hospitals, doctor recommendations, and hospital websites, 29% travel agency, and 10% paper or broadcast media. It seems that foreign patients are choosing medical services personally without going through an agency.
Right, I see. Now, Dr. Yoo, now that we have looked at the statistics and talked about this medical tourism trend, I'd like to ask why foreign patients are choosing South Korea as a destination for these trips. Is South Korea's medical treatment system better than other countries?
Well, choosing the South Korea is a kind of the marketing points. So, for example, we need a sunscreen. That time we choose a brand, or is how much is functioning, or how much it costs. But the buying and choose the sunscreen, but compare the medical services totally different. Because take the flights, say goodbye to their friends and family, finally go to the foreign country, cannot be communicated, which means there are many factors should be considered. From the beginning, there are many obstacles in embodying to medical tourism in South Korea, but step by step we have solved it, open for all the infrastructures and the confidential, build up confidentiality between country and the patient to the hospital in South Korea. Also, we build up the brands. Like South Korea is kind of mecca of medical tourism. Also, we are open to provide all service you can be expected. Under the pandemic, we are blockage. That's why we couldn't communicate well. At that moment, the many region for like Kdrama, Kpop, many K-art contents are open for all over the world. At the same time, we try to give them the confidentials of brands as like Korean medical tourism.
Right. Now, Dr. Yoo, since you have already pointed out, the craze surrounding Korean dramas and K-pop too is reportedly also one of the reasons why foreign patients visit South Korea as well. Since you are a physician who is working in the international clinic, is this really so?
Yes. So the teaching advertisement, because advertisement is very important, but sometimes we go to the directly selling the brands. But like a K-drama, K-art contents, they show to directly or indirectly about the Korean medical environment. Like 낭만 Doctors is a kind of title. It was famed for, it was created in the South Asian peoples. They believe, oh, this is kind of fancy, but not 100% real, but they believe medical services in their infrastructure, comparing them theirs, it looks different. At the same time, we are emphasizing to our advanced medical technology and our research in the medical research field. Probably it will give them to confidential and finally help to choose South Korean medical tourism.
Right, so Korean drama and K-pop are definitely doing their part to attract more foreign patients to come to South Korea for medical tourism. All right, now moving on to economic effect. Now, Director Hong, such medical tourism reportedly has a major waterfall effect in that many patients do what's known as medical shopping after getting treatment from one clinic. How much economic effect are we talking about?
The strength of medical tourism has its potential to extend beyond a single treatment. After treatment, it tends to lead to medical shopping. For example, after receiving hair loss treatment, there are many cases of additional inquiries to skin plastic surgery or Oriental medicine hospitals. In the case of severe falling patients, they usually visit general hospitals in Korea. And if other diseases are found during the treatment process, it leads to additional visits to other departments. After treatment, patients and companions have also spent a lot of money on non-medical services through shopping and tour in Korea. In 2019, just before the pandemic, as we know, about 500,000 foreign patients visit Korea, and at that time, the amount they spent on medical tour was about Korean won 3.03 trillion. And the resulting production inducement was about Korean won 5.5 trillion. In 2021, during the pandemic, 145,000 foreign patients visited Korea. The total expenditure of medical tour was about 730 billion Korean won by foreign patients and their companions. This presents 940 billion won of production inducement.
Right. Now, Director Hong, to develop such medical tourism industry, the Culture and Health Ministries have announced their strategies to attract foreign patients in May, aiming to attract 700,000 foreign patients by 2027. Now, could you first give us the details of the strategies they have announced?
The strategy involves, first, improving the entry process for foreign patients. Second, supporting many foreign patients to visit local hospitals as well as those in the metropolitan area. Third, strengthening industrial competitiveness. Last but not least, raising global awareness of Korean medical care. Well, I'd like to mention just a few key points here. When foreign patients visit Korea, visa issue is the most important part. To improve the immigration process, the Ministry of Justice will expand the designation of excellent institutions among medical providers and facilitators that allow patients to obtain visa online without visiting overseas diplomatic missions. Also, if the CAF accredited medical institution, CAF is a Korean accreditation program for hospitals serving foreign patients, certified by the Ministry of Health and Welfare or a tertiary general hospital applied for the relay system. They will be designated as an excellent institution recognized automatically by the Ministry of Justice. In addition, the improvement plan is expanding the scope of caregivers and guardians of fallen patients from spouse and immediate family to siblings, and exempting partners from the obligation to submit financial capacity certification documents. Nevertheless, there are social problems such as illegal stay in Korea, so it is necessary to approach them very carefully. Finally, we are also considering ways to provide follow-up care or consult with Korean medical staff through online medical consultation, even after fallen patients return their home.
Right, I see. Now, Dr. Yoo, before I ask about the support the government needs to put in place to further enhance this industry, I'd like to ask you one question. Since you are a physician working in international clinic, what were some of the issues that foreign patients had to go through when coming to South Korea to get the medical treatment?
Well, I'm 100% agree with Director Hong, he comments, but I work in the real world in the International Healthcare Center. Also, at the meantime, I'm to take care of the, inbounding patients from their countries. So issues, yes, first is visa. Why? Because some countries, their infrastructure on medical services not enough. Yes, they want to go to Korea in case, but very difficult to get the visa. As Korean government, we request to them to financial deposits, for example, like $20,000 for one person, to at least for the just case for get the visa to the business Korea. But you know what? Patients, they cannot come alone. They have to come together with their siblings or the caregivers or the patient or patient families. At least 2 or 3 people are coming. But how to make this visa guarantees not only the patient, to others? This is the kind of big issue. The second, in the communication skill, because Korean medical professional, yes, we do our best, but we're not prepared for other languages. They are asking from the Russian languages, Central Asian languages, and Southeast Asian languages, because it's not their home. Also, we have to prepare for them, not only for medical treatment in real, we have to take care of them emotionally, and the food after recover certain like the surgery. So we have to prepare one by one. Fortunately, we are preparing for a long time. Meanwhile, the pandemic, we're preparing as soon. But as Dr. Hong mentioned it, illegal stay can be we are worrisome. Is in meantime when we open and easing and relaxing the visa for the visiting Korea for the medical tourism. So should be the Minister of Health and Minister of Justice should be discussed about how to easy and how to relax in the visa. At the same time, how we can control it when they start to stay until back to their hometown, we should be considered about it.
Right, I agree. I guess the visa and communications issues should be dealt with by the government as well. Now, Dr. Yoo, making the industry thrive and attracting many foreign patients is of course important, but what matters is that they get proper treatment they want without any accidents. And so, as a physician, what should doctors be aware of when dealing with international patients?
Actually, there are no difference in the patient from the overseas, patients who are staying in Korea. I don't want to mention about nationalities. Who's staying in Korea, who are Korean speaking or who are not Korean speaking, they already use the Korean medical system. They can do measuring, and that they can choose the medical doctors, and they can communicate it, and that they make less the difference of the idea from the medical professional and the patient. But the problem is we say A, but they say ah, which means, so for example, after this surgical process, it can happen some complication, but it's inevitable one. But if you're not communicating well, it can happen the misunderstanding between the medical profession and the patient's families. So make these issues less as possible. Yes, we build up the medical communication groups. We can say medical coordinator. Korea, we are already started in the multicultural countries. We have to be recruiting their medical coordinator from some country like Vietnam, Mongolia, Uzbekistan, and other who need their medical services. So we make them the opportunity as like a bridging between medical profession in Korea and the patient who came from there. So if we are recruiting and educating them with the KOHA and KOICA and other agencies in Korea, probably it help to the more successful invitation program can with this bridging people who already stay in Korea.
Right, I see. Now, Director Hong, before we let our experts go, I heard that Korea Health Industry Development Institute is running a program for foreign patients to visit South Korea for the medical service they would like to receive. What are they?
To support foreign patients who have received cosmetic surgery, there is a program in which Korean hospitals refund VAT after treatment. So foreign patients can receive VAT refunds after cosmetic surgery. They can submit a medical service supply confirmation received from hospitals to the refund window within 3 months from the date of receiving the medical service. Refunds can be made at the refund window in the bounded area located in the airport of departure or the city refund window. And if it is difficult to visit the refund window, a post-refund can be made using the collection box or mail in the airport of departure. Refund amount is 10% of the medical expenses eligible for VAT refund after transaction fees are deducted. KIRI also currently operates 2 medical Korea information centers for foreign patients, Seoul Jongak and Incheon International Airport. Medical Korea Information Center provides comprehensive consultation and information related to medical services in Korea. The information is mainly about medical visa, medical disputes, and illegal brokers. The services are provided in 5 languages, which are English, Russian, Chinese, Japanese, and Korean. If you have any inquiries, please contact Medical Korean Information Center 15777-129, 15777-129. The Korean government thoroughly manages the quality of medical service, which is the most important for foreign patients to use Korean medical service, and strives for comfortable use of Korean medical care through safe, reliable, and excellent healthcare infrastructure. In addition to dermatology and plastic surgery, Korea's medical service is recognized as world-class in the field of severe disease, such as cancer and organ transplantation. And foreign patients are visiting Korea for related medical treatment. In order for more foreign patients to use Korean hospitals safely and comfortably, Korean government and hospitals will continue to make efforts. Please keep an eye on Medical Korea. Thank you.
All right. Well, I hope every foreign patient could get satisfying medical treatment they seek to have to receive in South Korea. All right. Unfortunately, this is all the time we have for today's edition. Thank you, Dr. Yoo and Director Hong, for your insights and for your time. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
All right. That's all for Within the Frame tonight. We'll be next Monday with more in-depth stories. Thank you for watching. Enjoy the weekend and goodbye.